This population that I call Generation IY makes up an entirely new batch of workers in the workforce, and they've just not come on the scene. They make up the second half of the millennials, and as we've dug up data and research, we have just found for many of them, that first job out of college is their very first job. Recently, I was talking to a friend. He's an attorney, and he was talking about a frustrating job interview he had just had. And he's a very kind man, but he said, after this job interview, I just decided I don't think I'm going to hire any more of these millennials. I'm just going to wait for the next batch of kids coming through. I'm just not going to do them. And I said, what happened? And here's what he told me. He sat down with a very sharp, well-dressed young lady who had just graduated from a very fine institution. And during the job interview, she looked up at him and smiled, and within 20 minutes of the conversation said, I'm going to have your job in 18 months. Now, I'm sure she meant to be communicating confidence, self-confidence, but for him it was just arrogance, and he ushered her to the door, and she did not get the job. I have another friend of mine that is right here in Atlanta that told me he doesn't hire a freshly graduated college student. He waits till it's their second job because he says, I want them to have a little experience already in the workforce. I want them to appreciate what they have here in our office. And I just get to pass up those rookie jitters that so often take place in the first year out of college. At Growing Leaders, we're in the same boat. We have loads and loads of 20-somethings and lots of interns, 3 shifts of interns every single year. And so we're constantly attempting to help these young people move, in the term we use, from backpack to briefcase. And it's a big jump. Some want to come and just consider this office their dorm, where they're wearing flip-flops and shorts, and we'll have board members or partners walk in the door, and it just doesn't make a good first impression, but it did not dawn on them. And so we're having to be more intentional in our coaching of these young people. And that's really the big idea in one of our chapters in this new Generation IY book, that our role as employers needs to shift. We cannot merely be managers of them like we have been for decades. We must be mentors, at least if we want to succeed with this new generation. Keep in mind that this population of kids, not all, but many, have gotten used to having their own way all through the first 18 years of their life. They've been weighing in on where the family goes on vacation. They get to vote on who stays on that reality TV show. I was just up with a school district up north in Michigan that said their school was not even allowed to use the word no in the classroom. They felt like it was too harsh, and the kids, needed to select another word as a faculty member besides the word no. Another school district told me they were not allowed to use red ink when they graded papers because it was too harsh for these children. We needed to choose a different color. Now, all of these are well-intentioned moves, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is not even getting them ready for the world they're going into, where their boss will use red ink in his voice or her voice all the time. I have been involved with a community theater program here locally, and my son was actually one of the coaches of these younger kids. And he told me, Dad, you won't believe this competition we just had. He said when the kids walked through the door for this theater competition, every one of the kids got a medal just for walking through the door, just walking in with clothes on. That was it. They got a medal. And then when they competed, they got additional medals. And the levels of each of the awards were gold, high gold, and platinum. Gold was as low as you can go. And get this, if that wasn't enough, if your child at that community theater program competition did not get the award he wanted, you could buy them out in the lobby. They were selling trophies and medals and ribbons out in the lobby to get for your child, just to make sure they leave happy. Now, you may think this is an exaggeration, but I'm thinking I'm seeing this far too often. And for many, this does not get them ready for the future. And so in the new IY book, I lay out some practical ideas on how we can prepare them for the world that awaits them after graduation, where they're on their own, mama's not around, and they've got to make it self-sufficiently. So every year since 1979, when I began my career, I have had to make a choice that I'm going to re-engage, be intentional about really being a coach to this new young adult that's working on staff. So 2 or 3 ideas real quick. Number 1, we need to make a decision to not just be a manager, but a mentor. to be saying we're going to be investing in them and they're worthy of the investment and we're going to see a return on the investment. But we've got to choose first to lean in. We've got to meet them halfway at least. Secondly, I think we need to make a decision to affirm them. There'll be many things we think we need to correct right away. They don't get the workplace right away, but I think we need to begin with an affirmation before we can offer the correction. I think they can receive the correction because we've earned it through lots and lots of affirmation. And finally, I believe it's wise to give them short-term commitments that they can achieve and put wins under their belt early on. We all like to feel like we're winning early on and that we can do this. We have it in us to be successful. So putting wins under their belts with short-term commitments early on allows us later to build the weights, like a workout room, like a weight room, where they're lifting the weights along the way and they're getting stronger and stronger as they go. But my affirmation to you is be that trainer, that coach that they need to become the best version of themselves.